let's talk about downhill running form. So downhill running in run form. So here's what we need to know about, I'm gonna go to the whiteboard. We're gonna try to do this, and it might be a disaster, but let's give it a go here. I think what most runners need to realize is like downhill is more risky than uphill. Unfortunately, if you're gonna run uphills, you have to run downhills at some point. But if you just think about the nature of uphill running, that's very steep, and you go to push off to come up this hill, right? And you're going up this hill, gravity is pushing down on you. So before you hit the ground, gravity is actually slowing you down, and it's actually setting you on the ground. So there's a lot less impact going uphill. When you go downhill, right, and you're trying to run down this hill, that is terrible, but this is you screaming down a hill, gravity is pushing you down, so not only do you have the impact of going forward, but it's also you're dropping some height, and gravity can speed you up. 9.8 meters a second squared, I believe, if I remember from my elementary days, is quickly accelerating you into the ground. I want you guys to know, like, and this is important for everyone, not just the question of run form and downhill running, but you have to be very careful in your downhill, I forgot the word I was going to use, but in your downhill training, because if you go out and you run a lot of hard downhills, it is very likely that you're going to develop either an IT band syndrome or plantar fasciitis or Achilles tendonitis, one of those three. Usually I see a lot of IT band stuff from people screaming down hills. There's racing hills and there's training hills. So if you're running hilly races or you're training for a hilly race, once a week, maybe every 10 days, you should be practicing downhill running, which would be kind of leveling off your pace from the upside. But if you're just going out and you're like, hey, I live in a hilly area, or I'm going to be going out into the hills today, I would actually encourage you guys maybe work the uphills a little bit and then take it easy on the downhills. Now, if you're out for a training run, you're like, here's my pace for the day, I need to hit this pace, I would not go and crush the uphills and blow yourself up later in the race. But I would actually encourage you guys to take it easy in the downhills because they're just higher risk for injury. Now, when we talk about running form on the downhills, there's a couple type of downhills. You have like your rollers. Let me change my marker here. You have your rollers. You have what we call the mothers, which we have one in Buffalo called Mother. This marker is no better. Fantastic. And then you have your mothers, which are like the really steep ones that kind of hurt. So the run form is going to be different between the two. If you ever run a downhill that's like you're trying not to face plant, let's start with the steep ones. So the steep hills, when you're legitimately running down the hill and you're just trying to contain your momentum, Pat and I are very big on a run form that is very much, I'm going to have two references. Oh, you're not going to see today, but very much Phoebe Buffay-like, if you've ever seen Friends. On downhills, we actually like to let the arms go quite a bit and let them flail on steep downhills because that's going to be your balance point. If you try to stay high and tight with it, it's very difficult to maintain your balance because the speed is so great. So if you're on a steep downhill and you're racing it, or you're like, hey, I'm getting after it today, I want to get after my downhills, I'm okay with the balancing the risk of injury because I'm doing this. I actually encourage you guys to let go of your arms, and you'll actually see like almost kind of like a not a windmill, but whatever this would be. I'm really good with the words today. You'll see whatever this is, and you can actually let your arms kind of flail. You don't have to do a lot of like knee drive or opening your stride. I actually encourage you guys to not shorten your stride, but just try to stay comfortable. I think one of the things we talk about in Need for Speed and the knee drive and learning to open your stride is on the downhills, you don't need to open your stride because the more you open it, the more impact you're going to get. The gravity's already throwing you into the ground. What we actually talk about, this is kind of a different topic, is using good knee drive and run form to get up the hill on a steep side. Give a little surge, so a surge here with driving the knee to get back up to speed, and then coming down, and then you'll just naturally even the upside and downside off. What I don't like to see, especially in the steep hills, is, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but people get to the top, especially in racing when you're trying to get going, and they get to the top and it's like, oh, thank God, I got there. And then they don't get that little, I really think when you get up to the top of that crest, just give yourself a little oomph to get going, because you're going to get this recovery on the downhill, unless it flattens out and you get it later on, then that's a little bit different, but you're going to get that recovery on the downhill. So just get yourself at the crest of the hill, a little bit of an umph to get back up to speed and get going. Now on the rollers, I'm big into, because this is more realistic, I would avoid the steep stuff all the time because that's just going to get you in trouble. But if we go and look at rollers, as far as run form goes, when you're looking at the same thing is going to apply. You're going to use your knee drive to go up the hill. You're going to give a surge at the top, just like a little boost. In phase 2 of RunSmart Mechanics, which you all have access to, I talk about driving the knee. We just launched the Need for Speed, but at the top of that hill, you're going to give yourself a little bit of a knee drive and just open your stride back up because the uphill is going to shorten it quite a bit. And you're going to give yourself a surge. And then on the downhill, you're going to be at the point, if you're running them for fun and you're not carrying, then just kind of relax and let the ground run over the ground a little bit. But if you're looking to pick up speed on that downhill, then all you have to do is teeter between feeling like in control, out of control. That's mentally what most people feel like, or what I felt like in the past is you're running down, you're like, this is like, what you don't want to do is sit back, because I'll see a lot of runners do that. So instead, go against what you feel comfortable with, because that's just keeping your center of mass here and completely overstriding. Instead, you want to just feel like you're leaning forward a bit and let gravity take you forward. And I want to try to draw this. It's not going to be great, but where most runners get in trouble, let's say we're going down a downhill and they're pushed off, what they most likely do is this, and this is the trunk up here, here's the butt and here's the thigh coming down, is they put the brakes on real hard. We don't want to do that because then you have a ton of force coming at this leg like a battering ram up into the body. What I actually like to see you guys do if you're running hills, this is going to be my longest answer for the night, is you're still going to be looking for that more mid-foot strike, but because the ground cuts out from underneath you, I don't know if you guys can see this, but you're still heel striking, but you don't want to feel like you're reaching for that ground and really planting the foot way out in front of you. Let me see if I can get you a little closer here. You want to make sure that you're not getting way out in front. So you'll see I'm still heel striking, but my knee is bent, versus what most runners do, which is here. So from a run form standpoint, keep your stride coming down and coming even, and then work on teetering between feeling uncomfortable and not uncomfortable. If it's a very steep, take it easy on that. But hopefully that helps you on the hill portion. Hills are tricky. I just really encourage you guys not to go nuts on them and really kind of bash through, okay?